Good afternoon, all pyros, backyard pyros enthusiasts. Hope you're having a great day. Still out here in February with a little more snow, so I just wanted to go over a couple of things with this video. As I said, I'm pretty new to this over the last few years, and the reason I had mentioned before that I had started was because they had tried to cancel the 4th of July, which happens to be not only my wedding anniversary, but it is the country's birthday, for goodness sake. So with that, as I said, we were not going to let that stop us from having a good time. And, at my age, back in when we were kids, most of the stuff we could get were some parachutes, some bottle rockets, firecrackers, some smoke bombs, just the typical novelty stuff. Whereas nowadays, with the consumer products, we're excited about doing our own shows. So anyway, for most part, as I had mentioned before, I'm totally impressed with a lot of other people's videos as far as stashing and how much product they actually keep on hand. So I know you guys are doing way better and bigger shows than I'm going to be doing in my backyard. So my whole gig has been the first year, bought a bunch of products, and as I had mentioned, tried a few different things, feeling that, if I pay and get more shots for the dollar, how do I get more bang for my buck? I was lucky enough to go to a place called International Fireworks in Douglasville, Pennsylvania, and they've been around for over 100 years as a family-owned business, shooting shows and actually carrying products and actually building their own products back in earlier days. However, they were very honest with me on how to take an approach to things. So what I did in the beginning was grab these products, shot them off, fired them by hand, and what I've done from that is catalog all of them. I don't know if that's a really good shot, but that's basically what I've been doing is between that and there is a 500 gram page too. These are all the 200 grams that I've used or demoed. And then these are the 500 grams that we've done as well. And typically what I put in there is, the name of the cake, obviously how many shots, the effects, duration, who manufactures it, the price, where I got it, any type of extra, meaning is it a middle to end? Is it a beginning cake? Is it a mid-show? Am I just filling stuff with it? Is it high, low? What direction? All that is included with both of these. So what I've tried to do is catalog all of them over each time. And as I mentioned in the last video, that's why I couple some of these products together to begin with before I, glue them down to a board or anything. And most of the time, you're just using the 3 different types of fuses. Your red, which to me is a 15 seconds a foot. I think the green is 20 seconds per foot. And then the white, of course, is pretty much simultaneous fusing. Most of these you can find at your regular store. If you can't, I know I couldn't find the white Fisco. So what I did was go to canonfuse.com, and they have that in stock usually if you're early enough. So that's available for you too. And using a mixture of all 3 of these over the past few years in combinations with cakes, whether 200 or 500 gram, have proven to be pretty good. The reason what I'm trying to do, as I mentioned before, you live in a typical neighborhood, as I mentioned, quarter-acre lot type stuff. You don't want a lot of fallout. And in the beginning, I tried all those canister shots. We were using 4-inch and 5-inch, and just the cleanup from that was a little excessive, especially when I found some 500 gram cakes that I thought gave the same effect and actually burst a little higher. And then if you've gotten into any Pyro Diablo type of products or anything, the 200 grams, these cakes, especially their dinosaur program piece, Spinosaurus, T-Rex, Mr. Rex, they're all excellent as far as they look like 500 grams to me when they're bursting. And that's the effect. If I can go for that and get the bang for buck and then try to put together a really good finale with something big, is fantastic. And, it'll save you money as well, depending on how much you want to put into your budget. I mean, depending on New Year's Eve to, 4th of July, I'm going anywhere from, I've done 4 cakes to 12 cakes on New Year's Eve to, doing 20, 25 for the backyard for 4th of July, which, as I mentioned, is usually a pretty good 8-minute duration. And just depending on the fusing, like I said, nothing's perfect. I try to go with the single fuse concept because I find it a challenge to be able to set things up, see if I can get this to go simultaneously with that or to delay this into that. That's why I like a lot of the 15-second fuse. I find that actually helps. I find it with the timing with a lot of the 200-gram cakes, I find it to be really, really a time saver as far as keeping things in the air and not having too many delays. I do like having certain built-in little delays that we all like and would like to incorporate a lot more salutes if we could, but most of the salutes that I find at the consumer level aren't that great. They're good, but I want to rock you a little bit. So we're going to keep in search for things like that. If anybody has any comments or any kind of suggestions on things like that, I'm open to listen to anybody and anything they've done or if they have viewed it or done that themselves as far as showing it off for the product itself, a demonstration. I'd love to see it. Anyway, with that in mind, that's what we're trying to do. And what I do normally when I fuse with these is I've gone ahead and taped this combination together. This Mindbender and Hitman, as I'd mentioned in my last video, were from Keystone Fireworks. I had not used their products before. I had demoed them or seen them demoed. I didn't light them myself, but I've seen tapes on them. And, with my background, I have two types of great jobs. I was a firefighter, a career firefighter, and I've been a college football coach. So film to me is a fun thing to watch. And I've just gone into watching these products over and over again to find out what I can put together. And as I mentioned, I like to couple things together. I find that it gives them a little more balance and stability when you put them on your board. I do glue everything down at the end to make sure everything's stable and safe. But if you just wanted to shoot a couple yourself like that, duct tape, I think, works well and keeps things a little more stable. I also use it to keep the fusing pieces from this right here over to this fuse. Depending on where you put this other product, I want this to go Mindbender to Hitman, and I want only about a 5 or 6 second delay from when the first starts to go to that. And that's why I'll be using the red fuse with that 15-second fuse. And what I'm going to do is I'll put it together. I'm not real good at holding something and doing this together, so I'm going to see if I can get it on camera or not. I'll have to show you after. I'm pretty sure everybody is pretty familiar with fusing. I just happen to use the 4-inch zip ties. I like 2 points of contact. I know a lot of people like tape. I think the painter's tape, actually works pretty well, better than just regular masking tape. But that's all a personal preference. And then after that, a lot of people like to cover them to prevent jumping. The reason I like to single fuse the way I do is to hopefully that the jumping just stays on the line itself. So normally, if anything fingers off and goes off into a different direction, it's usually far enough away that you're not going to have any spark to really create a problem. And if it does create a problem, well, I guess something brand new shows up on your video that day. And who knows, you might like it. So let me get this together, see if I can get this put together for you and show you how I like, when fusing, to make sure, if possible, that each piece of fuse here, I'm sorry, that's terrible. Each piece of fuse here goes and is connected twice here in the way that you want it to go. So lighting it from this side, the first cake, to this side, I want my fuses going to the left here so I can have my 2 points of contact. I have in the past with the Fisco, sometimes it's not as flexible as you like off these cakes because it's smaller than what you're using with the fusing. Sometimes I've had to go the other way. I have found as long as you can make those connections well, you probably won't have a problem, but do recommend that you keep it firing in the same position on its way down. Let me get that together and show you what it looks like, and I will be right back.